individual development, I'm sure skill development here in June. What are you looking for most in this class going forward?
Just really playing to our standard every single day. What that looks like from a cutting perspective, decision making perspective, defensively being disruptive. I think this time of year is really about understanding the concepts. We don't do a ton of live the first 2-3 weeks. We really want these guys to understand who we are and how we're going to play, and they're going to play our system. It's been a really good couple of months.
How do you feel the guys have kind of understood those concepts and kind of teaching so far?
I think it's foreign, right? It's like learning a new language. So there's good days, there's bad days, but the biggest thing is what are we doing from day one to day whatever, how many ever days we get. So I like our guys' athleticism. I like their desire to get better. I think we're really versatile. Every team has their weaknesses. We certainly will address those as we go, as we're learning our guys. But just spending a lot of individual time with them. I do player meetings once a week. Did about 5 or 6 of those. That's what this time of the year is about.
Can they do 5-on-5 to your liking yet?
We're going to do some today, so we'll see what it looks like today.
You've seen creating response to this. I know you know this, but coming back and casting out as the head coach, how important it has been for you to go out there, put your face out there, your message out there about UC basketball for so much bigger.
Well, I think we have the best fan base in the country. This brand is bigger than one person. Right? There's a lot of people that have helped build this brand. What we try to do is bring a lot of former guys back. Get our guys to understand what this logo means, what Cincinnati basketball means. So with that, there's a responsibility, whether it's giving back in a lot of different capacities. Our guys are going to do that, and it's really our job collectively to get us back in the NCAA tournament. That's the goal here, is to be playing in March. So we got to have March habits every single day.
Is that something, that expectation related to them, or is it in June, it's not talking about March?
Although they know the expectation. The expectation is to not to play in the NCAA tournament.
Year one at the helm, is that the goal for year one is an NCAA tournament or win Big 12, or do you have, a set of goals for year one?
Yeah, I think the goal is develop great habits. Develop great habits every single day. You have to have some long-term vision as well, but I think a lot of players get caught in that game of not working daily. So one of my mentors at Head a lot, Coach Huggins, he had a simple saying every day that we live by was don't waste days. And these guys haven't wasted a day. So typically you go win 25 plus games, win championships, get to the tournament, you're doing that on a daily basis. So yeah, we want to get to the NCAA tournament, and once you get in that tournament, you really can write your own story back. And that's what we're trying to do here with this group, is get them to understand the expectations of Cincinnati basketball. The fan base is to play in the tournament.
You just mentioned Coach Huggins just announced that he's going to make the Hall of Fame this year for the UC Hall of Fame. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think our president, our athletic director, committee that selected him, it's going to be a fun night for he and his family. I think anytime you go in the Hall of Fame, it's a team effort. There's a lot of people that have played a big part of that, whether it's former coaches, players, his managers. So happy for him. Got a chance to talk with him. I think Corey and Terry Nelson do as good a job as I've ever seen. Been part of some pretty good programs. The care factor they have, not only for this university, the basketball program, but Coach Huggins is pretty awesome. And there's a lot of people, I think, that feel the same way, and it'll be a special night.
Every team has its own playing style, and you have your own coaching style, but now that you have your guys out in the couple practices under the belt, what will this playing style be come the fall?
Yeah, I think the great coaches kind of recruit to their style and have a system the way they want to play. Ours offensively is a little unique. There's multiple actions. There's a lot of decision-based reads inside the offense, different concepts. Guys are picking that up. defensively, we're gonna probably press more than we did last year. We have a lot of depth, a lot of athleticism. So to not use that would not be smart on my part. So we're gonna pressure teams. You're seeing more and more of that in the NBA. Teams picking up full court. So I love that concept.
What has surprised you about this group so far early on in practice?
I think they really like each other. So I think we did a great job. Our staff lived in this building, quite honestly, for a long period of time. And I think these guys really like each other. You know, my meetings today, that was the common theme. Each player, it wasn't one guy. It was every guy that came in said, man, I've never been around a group of guys that share the ball. We all hang out. They're figuring out Cincinnati. You know, the common thing people like to do is eat. We have so many great eating options. As you can see, the staff and myself have taken full advantage of that.
It's kind of an interesting mix of young and old. How is that kind of worked out in a situation where you don't have established?
Yeah, I mean, I think leadership, there's a million ways you can lead, Chad. I think, you know, I saw Joe Missoula firsthand in West Virginia. He was a fiery leader back then. Saw Jason Maxiel here. He was a lead by example guy. Leadership comes in many ways. The reason we have some older guys and some younger guys, that's all by design. I think it's very hard to take 10 or 12 one-year guys. So I'd like to build a system where we don't have to do what we did last year with the portal, bring in a whole new team every year. That's not a recipe that I love. So we're going to attack high school recruiting. I think we're setting the record for Zooms. You know, we did 3 of them yesterday. We got 2 today right after practice. So if I run out of here, we're on another Zoom. But, you know, we're playing catch up a little bit in that department. But we're going to kill the high school recruiting and continue bringing a lot of talent.
Number 1 or 2. Was anyone better than expected that you brought in? You knew they were all good in some aspects, but anyone really better?
That's a tough question. I would say I really have enjoyed Tyler Tejada's versatility. I think this kid can play really 1 through 4. He's 6'9.5". You know, make shots. I think his shot distribution last year was a little bit off. We cleaned some of that up. I think he could be a point forward. I think he can play on the wing. I would say his versatility. Adlin, I think, is, you know, Mike Rayfeld, in my opinion, is the best strength coach in the country. He's already up to 192, which is a career high. If we can get him to 210, that's going to be an incredible accomplishment for him. He's buying in. Not only Mike, but our nutritionist. I think Dylan's done a phenomenal job. So those 2 guys, their versatility, I would say, has stood out. Riley's ability to stretch the defense is going to be really pivotal the way we want to play. And then you can counter that with Jaden Hastings on the inside, and you can play them both together, which we'll get into that, some of those concepts next week.
Trevor Carson was called the best all-around guard in his conference last year. Does he feel like a possible glue guy as a guard who I think averaged 6 rebounds a game last season?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have guys that can play on both sides of the ball. Keegan, I think he's really, really good at that. He's kind of our, you know, Derek White type, where he can play pretty good offense, but really good defensively. I think Miles Colvin has a chance to be an elite defender. His lateral quickness, his length, he's been pretty shocking that side of the ball really well.
And you just talked about high school recruiting. I'm sure you can't talk specifics about yours, but how important is recruiting the greater Cincinnati area for this recruiting staff?
You know, I learned this from Jim Tressel many years ago when he was at Youngstown State as the president. I went into his office and I asked him how he dominated the state of Ohio from a recruiting standpoint. He said, you got to get Youngstown guys. And I didn't really understand what that meant, but it's basically getting a map around Cincinnati, a 6-hour radius, and making sure every time we step into gym, they know who we are. You know, when Coach Huggins and Coach Cronin were here, when they walked into the gym, there was an aura, there was a fear factor. The Bearcats were here. There was a brand. That's what we got to have.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Coach.